Ladies and gentlemen, listen closely, because sometimes in the middle of your struggle, in the center of your doubt, in the noise of your worries, there arrives one single thought capable of shifting the entire direction of your life. And that thought is this: I am aligned with divine abundance, and money flows to me with ease, not from force, not from fear, not from chasing, but from alignment, from the inner knowing that abundance is your birthright. You see, life does not give you what you beg for. It gives you what you believe you can receive. Every day, countless people cry out for money, yet their minds echo with fear. What if it doesn't come? What if I fail? What if it will always be like this? But hear this truth: fear is a spiritual blockade. Faith is a spiritual magnet. The moment you choose a new thought, a new inner declaration, the universe begins to rearrange itself on your behalf, not after 10 years. Not after the economy changes, but immediately, the instant your inner vibration shifts. What you hold in your mind, you hold in your hand. When you say, money flows to me with ease, you are not pretending. You are commanding. You are speaking the language creation understands. For your word is not a whisper, it is a decree. And once spoken with conviction, with faith, with unwavering expectation, the law of supply begins to open doors you didn't even know existed. Suddenly an opportunity appears, suddenly a person helps you, suddenly an idea flashes in your mind that changes everything. Money does not come to the stressed mind, it comes to the aligned mind, the mind that thinks, I am taken care of, I am guided, I am connected to a source that never runs dry. And let me tell you something powerful. Years of negative thinking can be overturned by one moment of spiritual clarity. One moment where you speak from your highest self, not your wounded self. Because you were never meant to live in lack. You were never meant to fear bills or doubt your future or shrink your dreams to match your circumstances. No, your soul remembers abundance. Your spirit recognizes prosperity. Your heart knows the truth. You are meant to live a life of overflowing supply. So today, I ask you to hold this one thought, not weakly, not occasionally, but with the fierce certainty of someone who knows their destiny. I am aligned with divine abundance, and money flows to me with ease. Speak it until it feels natural. Speak it until the fear dissolves. Speak it until you feel something in your chest expand, that warm, electric sense that life is shifting in your favor. And when you do, watch what happens. Ideas will come, doors will open, finances will rise, situations will shift. People will show up, and money, yes, even money will begin to move toward you like water finding its path. Because the moment you align your thought with abundance, you no longer chase prosperity. Prosperity chases you. Hold the thought, live the thought, become the thought, and your whole life will change starting today. Your dominant thought becomes your dominant experience. And this truth reaches deeper than most people ever realize, because every outer experience in your life is a mirror of what you have allowed to take root in your mind. The moment you choose a new inner statement about money, a new belief, a new declaration that rises above fear and doubt, the outer world begins to shift quietly, subtly, but undeniably to match the vibration you hold within. You are not living in a world controlled by circumstances alone. You are living in a world shaped by your inner atmosphere, and every thought you entertain carries a frequency that calls forth its own kind of reality. This is why a person who constantly thinks I never have enough will experience shortage, no matter how hard they work, because the mind has already built a pattern of lack that the world continues to reflect back to them. But the person who, even with small beginnings, adopts the thought money flows to me freely and consistently, begins to experience opportunities, ideas, and openings that others cannot see, because their mind has already opened the door to receiving. This is not wishful thinking. It is the way spiritual law operates. Your thoughts are seeds planted in the soil of the universe, and each seed produces after its own kind. Plant worry, and you harvest more reasons to worry. Plant expectation of abundance, and you harvest opportunities that lead to abundance. The universe does not judge your thoughts, it simply echoes them. It does not ask whether you deserve more. It simply asks what you are aligned with. When you understand this, you become the master gardener of your financial life, choosing consciously the thoughts that create expansion and eliminating the thoughts that shrink your possibilities. A dominant thought is not a fleeting idea. It is the belief that sits behind everything you do, think, and feel. It influences how you walk into a room, how you speak about your future, how you handle challenges, and how you respond to opportunities. When your dominant thought is rooted in fear, you sabotage golden chances because part of you already assumes things will not work out. When your dominant thought is rooted in confidence and trust, you lean forward with courage, you act boldly, and you recognize openings that others overlook. The world does not respond to your wishes, it responds to your energy. Every person carries an inner financial identity, shaped by years of repeated thoughts, and this identity sets the thermostat for how much abundance they allow. If your thermostat is set to limitation, even when something good comes, you unconsciously push it away. But when your thermostat is set to abundance, you attract, allow, and even expect money to come. And raising your financial thermostat begins with one decision: choosing a dominant thought aligned with prosperity rather than poverty. This shift is not forced. You do not wrestle the mind into wealth. You gently introduce a new thought, repeat it with feeling, and allow it to become the new normal. The more consistently you hold it, the more your life reshapes itself around that internal truth. The world responds to your dominant vibration, not your momentary wishes. You cannot say, "I want more money," while secretly thinking it never works out for me. Because the dominant thought, "it never works out," will always override the weaker desire. This is why so many people pray for abundance while living in fear of bills, hoping for miracles while expecting disappointment, wanting change while rehearsing the same old worries. But the moment you shift the root thought, the branches of your life rearrange. You change the seed and the harvest changes. Wealth is not just an external condition, it is an inner state that attracts its equal. When your thoughts become rich, your life follows. When you hold the thought, "money comes to me easily," you begin to see ease where you once saw obstacles. When you think, "I am open and receptive to new channels of income," ideas start flowing that were previously blocked by doubt. When you choose, "I deserve abundance," you remove the invisible wall that once kept prosperity at a distance. This is not magic, it is alignment, and alignment is the birthplace of every breakthrough. Your reality rearranges itself around your most consistent belief. If you constantly think about debt, fear, and scarcity, you train your mind to look for more problems. But when you fill your inner world with thoughts of stability, flow, and limitless supply, you awaken your creative power. You begin noticing opportunities that were always there but invisible to a fearful mind. You speak differently, walk differently, dream differently. Your energy becomes magnetic because you are no longer begging life for relief. You are confidently expecting your good. And expectation is one of the strongest spiritual forces in existence. The moment you expect prosperity, you activate a higher spiritual law that opens doors, guides your steps, and draws resources toward you. You stop chasing money, and money begins finding its way to you through people, ideas, and circumstances you could never have orchestrated on your own. Your dominant thought becomes the architect of your life, and when you consciously choose a new financial identity, everything begins to shift toward that identity. You may not see results on the outside instantly, but the change begins the moment you make the inner decree. Energetically, the path rearranges the second your belief changes. Physically, it reveals itself little by little in perfect timing. You are not waiting for money. Money is waiting for your alignment. You are not waiting for things to get better. Things are waiting for your thought to take the lead. When you hold the thought, "I am aligned with abundance," you transcend circumstances. you rise above conditions. You become a magnet for increase, and slowly, steadily, powerfully, your dominant thought builds a new world around you, a world that reflects the truth you finally dared to believe. Money responds to clarity, certainty, and expectation, never fear, and this truth becomes clearer the more you observe the way life unfolds. Because fear is a constricting force while clarity expands, certainty strengthens, and expectation opens invisible pathways toward supply. When your inner dialogue is filled with anxiety, tension, or doubt, you unknowingly slam the door on opportunities that were already moving toward you, and not because you are undeserving, but because fear creates an energetic fog that blocks your ability to recognize, accept, or act upon channels prepared for your abundance. Fear whispers stories of what if it doesn't work, and what if I fail again, and what if there isn't enough. And these questions pull you out of alignment with the very flow you are trying to attract. But the moment you shift your internal atmosphere from fear to clarity, by deciding what you want, declaring that it is possible, and expecting life to cooperate, you activate a completely different spiritual law, one that responds instantly to the tone of your thoughts. Money does not respond to desperation, it responds to direction. It follows the mind that knows what it wants, believes it can receive it, and acts as though the universe is already supplying it. When you are clear, you stop sending mixed signals. When you are certain, you stop sabotaging yourself. When you expect good, you open the gates through which that good can arrive. Think of fear as static, the kind that disrupts a radio signal. When your mind is filled with fear, your spiritual reception becomes weak. You cannot hear the guidance that tells you the next step. You cannot sense the opportunities being formed. You cannot feel the quiet pull toward the right action. You are too busy imagining worst-case scenarios to receive the inspiration that creates best-case realities. And yet, when you replace that fear with clarity, everything changes. Clarity is not just knowing what you want, it is knowing that you have the right to want it, the ability to achieve it, and the spiritual backing to receive it. Clarity speaks with authority. This is my intention, this is my path, this is what I choose. And life responds to such decisiveness with movement, because every firm decision becomes a command to the universe. Certainty carries an energy that snaps the world into alignment. Certainty says, there is no lack, there is no randomness, there is no competition for what belongs to me. What I seek is seeking me. And expectation, genuine, heartfelt expectation, is the magnetic force that completes the process. When you expect money to flow, you take actions that support that expectation instead of sabotaging it. Fear and expectation cannot live in the same mind. One must dominate. Fear imagines loss, expectation imagines gain. Fear anticipates problems, expectation anticipates solutions. Fear shrinks your vision, expectation expands it, and you always attract according to the emotional state you inhabit most consistently. A mind filled with fear repels abundance because fear signals danger, and the subconscious mind will always prioritize protection over expansion. But a mind filled with expectation signals safety, readiness, and openness, and the subconscious moves heaven and earth to support those states. When you expect money to come, your subconscious begins scanning your environment for every possible path through which it can flow. It nudges you toward ideas, conversations, and actions that align with your desire. Even coincidences increase because the moment you shift your belief, the universe shifts its response. People often misunderstand money as something controlled by hard work alone, but in truth, money is deeply spiritual and deeply psychological. Money follows belief before it follows effort. Two people can work the same job, put in the same hours, use the same skills, and yet one will prosper while the other struggles. Why? Not because of luck, not because of talent, not even because of opportunity, but because one moves with certainty and the other moves with fear. One approaches life expecting increase, expecting advancement, expecting financial breakthroughs, expecting opportunity, expecting doors to open. The other approaches life expecting things to go wrong, expecting disappointment, expecting delay, expecting scarcity, expecting to be overlooked. Their outer actions may be the same, but their inner atmosphere creates two entirely different worlds. Clarity, certainty, and expectation do not just attract money. They make you ready for money. They put you in the right state to handle abundance without fear or guilt. They make you courageous in your decisions, graceful under pressure, and intuitive when opportunities appear. They keep you from guessing yourself, doubting your path, or shrinking your dreams to fit your circumstances. When you know what you want, when you trust your right to have it, and when you expect it to arrive, you become aligned with the natural flow of supply. Money is not difficult when the mind is aligned. It becomes difficult only when the mind is divided. A divided mind does not receive. A fearful mind does not receive. A doubtful mind does not receive. But a mind filled with clarity, certainty, and expectation becomes a vessel ready for overflow. When you move from fear to certainty, you move from "how will this happen" to "of course this will happen." You move from "what if it goes wrong" to "what if it goes beautifully right." You move from desperation to direction. You speak differently. You walk differently. You respond differently. You no longer chase money. You attract it. You no longer cling to survival. You rise into creation. You no longer repeat the stories of lack. You speak the language of abundance. And because the universe mirrors your internal state, you begin receiving financial experiences that reflect your new, empowered inner truth. The moment you expect money to come, you begin preparing for it. You start organizing your life as if abundance is inevitable instead of uncertain. And because you prepare for it, you create space for it, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and materially. Life does not respond to fear because fear creates confusion, but life responds immediately to expectation because expectation is clarity in action. The more you expect good, the more good you draw. The more you expect wealth, the more wealth finds you. And when you step fully into this truth, fear loses its power, scarcity loses its grip, and money begins to flow with a steadiness that surprises even you. For money responds to clarity, certainty, and expectation, never fear, and once your mind holds this truth, your financial life will never be the same. A single powerful thought can erase years of negative conditioning, because the moment a higher truth enters your mind with force, clarity, and spiritual authority, it dissolves old beliefs the way light dissolves darkness, not by fighting it, not by struggling with it, but by simply being more powerful than what came before. You may have spent years hearing voices of limitation, years believing you were not capable of earning more, years absorbing the fears of parents, teachers, relatives, society, and your own past failures. You may have carried stories like "money is hard," "abundance is rare," "prosperity is not for people like me," or "success only comes to the lucky." Those thoughts may have shaped your decisions, your emotions, your expectations, and even your self-worth. But the moment you introduce one new, spiritually aligned idea, held with conviction, emotion, and repetition, you begin a process that overrides the entire narrative you once lived under. For your mind does not change by time, it changes by truth. And one truth, held deeply, outweighs thousands of false beliefs you once carried without question. When a new thought enters with enough force, it does not politely ask the old beliefs to move, it replaces them. It becomes the new reference point for how you see the world. Imagine a person who, for decades, believed they were destined for financial struggle. Their entire identity may have been built around survival, scarcity, and worry. But then comes a moment, sometimes through a realization, sometimes through a spiritual awakening, sometimes through a flash of inspiration, where a new thought breaks through the walls of limitation. "I am meant for more." or I can change my financial destiny, or abundance is my right, not a privilege, or the simplest yet most powerful of all, I deserve to prosper. That one thought, once accepted, begins reordering their entire inner world. It rewrites their emotional reactions, reshapes their self-image, and opens a new channel for opportunity. They begin to act differently, speak differently, expect differently, and because of that shift, life begins responding differently. The old patterns collapse because they no longer have a mind to feed them. People underestimate how fast transformation can happen because they assume change must match the length of their struggle. They think years of scarcity require years of healing, years of limitation require years of work, years of fear require years of effort. But spiritual truth operates outside of time. Enlightenment requires only one moment of clarity. You can walk in darkness for 50 years and still fill a room with light in a single second just by flipping a switch. In the same way, you can live under the shadow of limiting beliefs for decades, and a single moment of spiritual understanding can illuminate your entire path forward. You are not bound by how long you believed something. You are liberated the moment you stop believing it. You may have been conditioned by poverty, but the moment you adopt the thought, abundance is natural, the conditioning begins to fall away. You may have been conditioned by fear, but the moment you embrace the thought, I am supported, the fear loses its authority. You may have been conditioned to doubt your worthiness, but the moment you declare, I am enough, your entire emotional world rearranges itself. A powerful thought does not simply enter the mind, it takes command of it. It becomes the new dominant vibration, the new filter through which you view possibility. Old beliefs are like weeds that grew because no one planted something stronger. But one powerful thought is like a towering tree that overshadows everything else. The weeds cannot survive under its presence, and once the new belief takes root, the old ones have no choice but to wither. This is why people who discover a new empowering truth often describe it as a turning point or a moment of awakening. Something inside them shifts forever. They do not need to force themselves to think differently anymore. The new belief becomes natural because it resonates with a deeper spiritual truth. And truth, once recognized, cannot be forgotten. Negative conditioning survives only when it goes unchallenged. But the moment you introduce a higher idea, intentionally, repeatedly, and with emotional strength, you create a new mental path that becomes easier to walk each day. Science calls this neuroplasticity, spirituality calls it alignment. Both agree on one thing: repetition of a powerful thought reshapes your identity. You are not stuck with the beliefs you inherited. You are not confined by the thoughts you adopted during difficult times. You are not the prisoner of your past. Your mind is malleable, your beliefs are flexible, and your identity is fluid. You can transform who you are by transforming what you think, and one thought is enough to begin the entire journey. When you think a powerful thought long enough, it becomes your truth. And when it becomes your truth, it becomes your experience. For instance, the thought money flows to me easily may feel foreign at first, especially if your past says otherwise. But with repetition, emotion, and trust, it becomes more familiar than the old belief money is hard. And once it becomes more familiar, it becomes more dominant. And once it becomes dominant, your subconscious starts creating actions, behaviors, and choices that support that truth. You will notice opportunities you once ignored. You will follow intuitive nudges you once dismissed. You will take leaps you once feared. You will speak with confidence you once lacked. You will say yes to possibilities that your old self would have avoided. And because your behavior changes, your results change. The world reflects the shift within you. A single new thought can open the floodgates of abundance because it invites the universe to respond to a new version of you. Your energy changes, your vibration rises, your expectations expand, and life mirrors those changes with precision. One thought becomes one shift becomes one opportunity, one opportunity becomes one breakthrough, and one breakthrough becomes a completely transformed financial reality. Change does not begin with money, it begins with a single decision to think differently, and once you think differently, everything else follows. Your spoken word sets spiritual law into motion, and this truth is far more powerful than most people realize, because every word you speak is a declaration of what you expect life to deliver to you. Words are not just sounds. They are vibrations, instructions, and commands that shape the invisible substance from which your reality is formed. When your intention, belief, and speech align, your words become creative forces that carve new pathways of opportunity, dissolve old limitations, and draw into your life exactly what you have proclaimed. Yet many people speak words of fear, doubt, lack, and limitation without realizing they are ordering more of the same. They say, money never stays, and life mirrors that expectation. They say, I can't catch a break, and the world reflects that energy. They say, everything is difficult, and difficulty follows them like a shadow. But when you speak with purpose, when your words are filled with faith instead of fear, when you declare boldly what you want rather than what you dread, you activate spiritual laws that cannot fail to respond. You begin shaping your future with every sentence, aligning yourself with abundance rather than scarcity. Words are seeds, and every seed produces after its kind. When you plant seeds of prosperity, prosperity becomes inevitable because the universe is obedient to the tone of your speech. When you say, I am worthy of wealth, you are not simply describing yourself, you are commanding life to rise to meet that identity. When you say, money flows to me easily, you are establishing the expectation that governs your actions, your intuition, and your opportunities. When you say, the universe supports my success, you are aligning yourself with a truth so powerful that obstacles begin to dissolve before you even reach them. The spoken word is the bridge between thought and manifestation, and when you speak with certainty, you pull the unseen into the seen. Your words reveal your beliefs, but they also shape them. When you repeatedly speak a phrase of power, even before you fully believe it, you are training your subconscious mind to accept that statement as truth. The subconscious does not argue, it follows. It takes your words as instructions and adjusts your actions, feelings, and instincts accordingly. If you say, I always struggle, the subconscious prepares you for struggle. If you say, I am attracting new ways to prosper, it begins scanning for opportunities that match that command. Words are programming. They write the script your life follows, and the moment you choose new language, you choose a new path. This is why the ancient wisdom traditions teach that the spoken word is the most direct way to harness spiritual law. Thought is powerful, but speech amplifies thought. It projects it outward, it sets direction, it strengthens intention, it vibrates through your environment. When you speak, you declare your place in the world, you claim your identity, you command your destiny. Your words are not empty. They are creative, magnetic, generative. They hold the power to uplift, restore, transform, and usher in blessings that you once thought were far beyond your reach. Many people wonder why they pray, affirm, or hope for better things and still experience lack. It is because they cancel their own intentions with their casual conversations. They speak abundance in the morning and complain by afternoon. They declare prosperity but speak fear every time a bill arrives. They affirm confidence but tell others how anxious they feel. They ask for opportunities but speak about how unlucky they are. In this way, they send mixed signals to the universe, and mixed signals produce mixed results. But the moment your words become consistent, when your mouth matches your mind and your mind matches your desire, you become unstoppable. Consistency of speech becomes consistency of vibration, and consistency of vibration becomes consistency of manifestation. When you speak as if abundance is already yours, you begin living from a higher state of consciousness, and that state is what draws your good to you. Your word has magnetic power. and it has the ability to call forth circumstances that would never appear without your declaration. A single statement spoken with conviction can change the course of your day, your week, your month, your entire financial life. When you say, "Everything I need is on its way to me," resources begin shifting behind the scenes. When you say, "I attract the right people at the right time," alignments begin forming that you could never orchestrate alone. When you say, "I release all fear around money," your body relaxes, your mind sharpens, and you become receptive to ideas that had been blocked by worry. When you say, "I am open to abundance," you are literally opening the energetic door through which abundance enters. Words clear the path. Words open the gates. Words summon the support you need when you need it most. The spoken word also sets boundaries. When you say, "I do not entertain scarcity," you cut ties with the old mindset that kept you small. When you say, "I do not accept lack," you refuse the limitations that once governed your life. When you say, "I allow only prosperity into my experience," you signal to the universe that you are no longer available for anything less than your highest good. These declarations strengthen your spiritual stance, they sharpen your identity, and they remove the internal resistance that once blocked your blessings. You no longer ask for abundance timidly, you speak it boldly. You no longer whisper your desires, you claim them. You no longer speak from your circumstances, you speak from your power. When your spoken word aligns with your belief, it becomes a creative force that nothing can stand against. A person who speaks from conviction does not merely hope for change, they command it. They do not wait for life to shift. They speak the shift into being. They do not respond to circumstances. They instruct circumstances. Such a person becomes a living example of spiritual authority because they understand that their voice carries weight, direction, and creative potency. They understand that their words are instruments of manifestation, not reactions to the world but architects of it. And so, when you speak wealth, you invite wealth. When you speak confidence, you activate confidence. When you speak blessings, you trigger blessings. When you speak as if all things are possible, the universe responds by making them possible. You are not speaking empty phrases, you are speaking the language creation understands. Each word is a decree, each decree is a law, and each law shapes the reality that unfolds around you. Such is the power of your spoken word. It does not merely describe your world, it builds it. Money flows where it is welcomed, appreciated, and respected, and this truth carries a depth that can transform your entire relationship with abundance, because money is not just a physical object. It is an energy, a frequency, a living current that responds to the emotional environment you create around it. Many people unknowingly chase money with desperation while resenting it at the same time, wanting more yet feeling guilty for having it, desiring wealth but speaking poorly of those who possess it. They hold beliefs such as rich people are greedy, money is the root of problems, I'm not meant to live a luxurious life, or having more means someone else will have less. And these beliefs create an energy of rejection. You cannot attract what you secretly judge, you cannot welcome what you quietly fear, and you cannot respect what you constantly complain about. Money is sensitive to your emotional climate. It is attracted to openness, gratitude, and confidence, and it withdraws from bitterness, insecurity, and shame. When you appreciate what you already have, you signal to the universe that you can handle more. When you respect money, no matter how small the amount, you elevate your vibration to match abundance. And when you welcome wealth with sincerity rather than fear, guilt, or doubt, you create an energetic invitation that money cannot resist. Think of money like a guest. A guest stays where it feels acknowledged, valued, and appreciated. If someone visits your home and you greet them warmly, offer them a seat, treat them with kindness, and express appreciation for their presence, they will feel comfortable returning. But if you greet them with tension, criticize them, or act as though they are a burden, they will hesitate before ever coming back. Money behaves the same way. When you say, "I never have enough," you are telling money it is unwelcome. When you treat money carelessly, spend it impulsively, or lose track of it, you send a signal of disrespect. When you compare yourself to others and resent their abundance, you vibrationally reject the very thing you claim to desire. But when you celebrate every amount that comes into your life, when you handle your finances with clarity and intention, when you express gratitude for every incoming flow, no matter how small, you are sending a powerful message to the universe. I am ready for more. And the universe responds accordingly. Gratitude multiplies whatever it touches. A person who is grateful for 10 rupees will one day handle 10,000 rupees with ease, and later 10 million, because gratitude expands capacity. But a person who complains about small amounts will repel larger amounts because their energy says, I cannot appreciate what I have now. Respect empowers whatever it embraces. When you respect money, you organize it, save it, track it, use it wisely, and treat it with care. This is not greed, this is alignment. It tells the universe that you are responsible, grounded, and prepared. When money sees it will be cared for, it stays longer and returns more frequently. Appreciation magnetizes whatever is acknowledged. When you look at your wallet, bank account, income, or possessions with appreciation rather than disappointment, you immediately shift your vibration from lack to abundance. And abundance always attracts more abundance. Money responds to emotional alignment, not emotional chaos. If you treat money as something emotional, something that controls your worth, your identity, or your happiness, you create internal resistance. Money is neutral. It becomes what your energy makes it. If you treat it with fear, you repel it. If you treat it with love, you invite it. If you treat it with guilt, you sabotage it. If you treat it with clarity, you empower it. Many people try to manifest money while holding emotional blockages toward it. Guilt for wanting more, shame for past mistakes, resentment toward bills, fear of running out, worry about the future. These emotions collapse the energetic field that abundance needs in order to move. But when you shift your attitude to money is a blessing, money allows me to serve others, money supports my growth, money expands my ability to live fully, you remove the internal blocks that kept prosperity at a distance. The universe is always listening to how you handle what you currently have. If you mismanage small amounts, the universe will hesitate to give you larger amounts, not out of punishment, but because your vibration demonstrates unreadiness. But the moment you begin treating even the smallest amount of money with respect, writing it down, saving a portion, handling it intentionally, you tell life that you are prepared for greater flow. Money loves order. Money loves clarity. Money loves purpose. The more intentional you are with your finances, the more life entrusts you with. When you welcome money, you shift into an energy of receiving. When you appreciate money, you shift into an energy of expansion. When you respect money, you shift into an energy of stewardship, and these three energies combined create an unstoppable magnetism. They turn you from someone who hopes for money into someone who attracts it. They turn you from someone who chases money into someone who receives it. They turn you from someone who fears lack into someone who expects abundance. And expectation is one of the highest spiritual calls, because what you expect becomes what you experience. Money goes where it is invited. It stays where it is valued. It multiplies where it is respected. And it grows where it is appreciated. When you begin treating money as a friend instead of an enemy, a blessing instead of a burden, a flow instead of a fight, everything about your financial life begins to change. Your attitude shifts, your energy rises, your opportunities increase, and abundance becomes natural instead of rare. For money flows where it is welcomed, appreciated, and respected. And the moment you embody that truth, the flow becomes unstoppable. The moment you realize that money is not earned by struggle, but invited through inner alignment, a new door opens inside you, a door that had always been there, waiting for you to turn the handle. Most people spend their lives knocking on external doors, hoping someone on the other side will grant them permission to prosper, yet the lock was always on the inside. You turn it not by force, but by awareness. And the awareness is simple. Everything you desire already exists, already has your name written on it, already vibrates in your direction the moment you stop resisting it with fear, doubt, and unworthiness. Money is not a hard, distant force. Money is an energy that listens. Money comes where it is welcomed, and it stays where it is respected. When you choose thoughts that align with abundance, you are not creating money out of thin air, you are tuning yourself to the frequency where money already lives. Every time you speak words of lack, every time you think thoughts of limitation, every time you declare, I can't afford this, or money is hard to get, you close the door to the flow that was ready to enter. But the moment you shift your inner dialogue, the entire universe shifts with you. Thoughts are not wisps of smoke disappearing into the air. Thoughts are powerful currents shaping your reality. You cannot think poverty and experience prosperity. You cannot speak lack and live abundance. You cannot walk around expecting the worst and be surprised when you receive it. Life is always responding to the vibration you hold, not the excuses you give. And the vibration you hold about money becomes a magnet, drawing experiences, people, opportunities, and circumstances that match its tone. If you wake up declaring that money is scarce, your day will prove you right. If you wake up declaring money flows freely to you in expected and unexpected ways, life will rise to meet that declaration. You are not trying to convince the world, you are training your subconscious. And your subconscious does not argue, question, or debate. It simply accepts. When you tell it repeatedly that money flows, it begins organizing your actions, your ideas, your intuition, and your awareness to find that flow. When you tell it that money is difficult, it shuts down the very channels through which abundance could reach you. So the shift begins inside. It is quiet, it is subtle, but it is profound. Instead of saying, I need money, you begin saying, I am aligned with money. Instead of saying, I hope things get better, you declare, good things are always coming to me. Instead of saying, life is unfair, you affirm, life supports me in every direction. You speak these words not because you are pretending, but because you are remembering. You are remembering who you are. A creator, a magnet, a vibrational being with the power to open or close the gates of abundance through the quality of your thoughts. And once you shift the thought, the world around you responds with surprising speed. You begin noticing opportunities you once overlooked. You feel guided to take actions that lead to prosperity. You attract people who elevate your direction. You receive ideas that seem to fall from the sky yet carry the potential to move your life forward. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. Alignment makes life smoother, richer, and more effortless. Alignment dissolves struggle without effort. Alignment is the bridge between desire and manifestation, and your thoughts are the planks that build that bridge. There is no magic more powerful than the moment you stop fighting your own good. Most people do not suffer because good things are unavailable. They suffer because they resist the good that is trying to reach them. They resist by doubting themselves, by believing old stories, by replaying memories of lack. But you are not your past. You are not your old mistakes. You are not your parents' beliefs, nor society's expectations, nor the fears you learned as a child. You are the thinker of your thoughts, and the moment you choose a new thought, you choose a new life. Even now, in this very breath, you can choose to think differently about money. You can choose to believe that money is safe, money is abundant, money is circulating, money is seeking you as much as you are seeking it. When you hold the thought that money is an ally, something inside you softens. You stop chasing, you stop panicking, you stop feeling undeserving. In that softness, your energy rises, your intuition clears, and your confidence strengthens. You begin making decisions from power rather than fear. You ask for what you are worth. You take bold steps that once scared you. You share your gifts without shrinking, and in return, the universe reflects this confidence back in the form of financial increase. Money responds to boldness, money responds to clarity, money responds to certainty. A thought infused with certainty is more powerful than hours of labor born from fear. Every day, your thoughts about money are sending a signal. If the signal is fear, you repel. If the signal is gratitude, you attract. If the signal is desperation, you block. But if the signal is trust, doors open effortlessly. This is why a single aligned thought can do more for your financial life than years of struggling without belief. The right thought expands you, the wrong thought contracts you. Expansion is where abundance flows. Contraction is where abundance suffocates. So your task is not to chase money, your task is to expand into the version of yourself that can allow it. Imagine standing under a waterfall. The water is endless, overflowing, unstoppable. Now imagine placing a tiny cup under that waterfall. That cup represents the size of your belief, your expectation, your readiness. The universe is not the cup you are. The universe is the waterfall. When you hold small thoughts, you collect small amounts. When you hold expansive thoughts, you stretch your capacity to receive. The waterfall does not change, you do. And as you grow, the flow that was always available begins to match your new capacity. The shift happens the moment you choose the thought, I am worthy of wealth. The shift deepens when you declare, money flows to me freely. The shift becomes permanent when you consistently think thoughts that honor your worth, your power, your right to prosper. When you realize that abundance is not outside of you but inside your belief system, you stop begging life for blessings and start aligning with the blessings that are already yours. This is the sacred truth. The universe listens to your dominant thought, not your occasional wish. And the thought you choose today can open doors you once believed were permanently locked. The thought you choose today can dissolve debts, attract opportunities, awaken ideas, and transform your financial reality in ways you never imagined. One thought held with conviction has the power to rewrite your entire relationship with money, because that thought becomes the foundation upon which a new, abundant life is built. There comes a moment in every person's life when they finally understand that money does not flow to the person who works the hardest, but to the person who thinks the clearest. The world has trained people to believe that effort alone creates prosperity, and yet there are countless individuals laboring day and night who still struggle to make ends meet. Meanwhile, others seem to attract wealth with ease, as if money is drawn to them by some invisible current. This is not accident, privilege, or luck. This is alignment. This is the power of holding a money thought so strong, so unwavering, so confident that life itself begins rearranging to match it. When you discover that money follows certainty, everything in your world begins to change. Most people live with a divided mind. They say they want money, yet they think thoughts that repel it. They hope for increase, yet they speak words that contradict their hope. They desire abundance, yet they vibrate fear, doubt, and unworthiness. They chase wealth while believing internally that wealth is distant, difficult, or meant for others. But there are people who reverse this inner contradiction. They hold a single, powerful thought about money with such conviction that the universe has no option but to respond. And that thought is simple: I expect money, I trust money, I am aligned with money. When you think this way, something inside you stabilizes, and it is that stability that money follows. Money does not follow anxiety. Money does not follow desperation. Money does not follow the vibration of a person who is constantly afraid of losing it. It follows the individual who stands rooted in the belief that abundance is natural, ever-flowing, and meant to circulate through their life. When you release the fear of money leaving, money begins to arrive. When you release the belief that money is scarce, money begins to multiply. When you release guilt around wanting wealth, wealth begins to recognize you. The universe does not resist your desire. It mirrors your emotion about the desire. And if your emotion is clean, confident, and empowered, you become a magnet to every form of prosperity. There is a kind of person who walks through the world with a lightness, a calmness, a spiritual confidence that they will always be provided for. They do not panic when bills arrive. They do not collapse when unexpected expenses appear. They do not shrink in the presence of financial challenges. Instead, they hold the thought, something greater is supporting me, guiding me, supplying me. They understand that supply does not come from one job, one client, one opportunity, or one source. They know that the universe has infinite channels, and if one closes, another opens immediately. They live in a state of expectation, and that expectation is the signal money responds to. Imagine walking into a room where someone genuinely believes that good things are coming. Their presence feels different. They carry a certainty that does not need explanation. They radiate trust, and trust is magnetic. Money gravitates to that energy because it is the energy of abundance. Money cannot attach to a person who vibrates lack, just as light cannot cling to darkness. When you shift your inner atmosphere from fear to faith, from scarcity to security, from worry to trust, you create a field of energy around you that attracts opportunities, ideas, people, and financial increase. This is not metaphysical fantasy, this is vibrational law. When you know, not just hope, that you will always be supplied, you begin to move differently, you speak with more confidence, you make decisions with more clarity. You stop undervaluing your gifts, you stop discounting your worth. You stop begging for chances and start choosing what aligns with your vision. You act from power, not panic, and life mirrors this back to you in the form of abundance, because abundance responds to power. Not aggressive power, not forceful power, but the quiet, steady power of inner trust. There are people who rise financially not because they have extraordinary skill, but because they hold extraordinary belief. Their belief gives them permission to pursue opportunities others are too afraid to approach. Their belief guides them to say yes to moments that expand them and no to patterns that drain them. Their belief lets them see possibilities where others only see problems. And because money follows vision, they begin attracting wealth simply because they hold a mental image of abundance so clear that it becomes a blueprint for their reality. Most people look at the world through the eyes of limitation. They see a fixed amount of money, fixed opportunities, fixed pathways. But the person who understands the true nature of abundance knows that everything is always expanding. Wealth is not a pie with limited slices. Wealth is an ever-growing ocean. When you align with this truth, you stop fighting for crumbs and begin expecting the feast. You stop asking, "How will it happen?" and start affirming, "It is already happening." You begin to feel financially supported even before the evidence shows. And that feeling is what draws the evidence into form. A single money thought, held with unwavering consistency, becomes a force. If you wake each day with the thought, "Money is flowing to me in increasing amounts," and you allow no doubt to interrupt it, you will watch your life reshape in ways that defy logic. Unexpected payments arrive. New clients appear, opportunities unfold, ideas drop into your mind with perfect timing. Solutions emerge effortlessly. This is the power of alignment, not forcing outcomes, but inviting them through unwavering inner certainty. You must understand that the universe does not respond to scattered thoughts. It responds to dominant ones. A person who holds one powerful thought about money with absolute conviction is more abundant than the person who holds 100 thoughts mixed with fear. Clarity is a magnet. Certainty is a magnet. Consistency is a magnet. The universe is not withholding abundance, it is waiting for your vibration to stabilize. Once it does, wealth begins to appear in every direction. And here is the deepest truth. Money does not follow people who need it the most, it follows people who believe they are worthy of it. Need is a vibration of lack. Worthiness is a vibration of abundance. The moment you shift from "I need money" to "I deserve money," your entire energetic field changes. You stand taller, you breathe deeper, you see wider, you sense opportunities that were invisible before. You hear intuitive nudges that guide you to prosperity. You begin to live in alignment with abundance rather than chasing after it. And in that alignment, money recognizes you. It finds its way to you. It comes through channels expected and unexpected. It flows in increasing amounts. You become one of those people others observe and say, everything they touch seems to prosper. But it is not what you touch, it is what you think. Money follows the vibration you embody, and when that vibration is certainty, trust, and worthiness, wealth has no choice but to arrive. There is a quiet moment in every life when a person finally understands that abundance is not something you chase, it is something you allow. The world teaches you to run, to push, to strain, to grasp, to fear falling behind. But the universe does not operate through panic. It operates through alignment, timing, and openness. And when you realize that the shift you need is not outside in your circumstances, but inside your consciousness, something extraordinary begins to happen. A single shift in awareness can open a floodgate that has been waiting for years to release its flow into your life. There are truths that sleep within you until you are ready to hear them. For some, abundance feels like a distant dream because they have never been told that the door to prosperity does not open outward, it opens inward. It is not locked, it is not hidden, it is simply waiting for you to turn your attention in the right direction. That direction is not toward more effort, more struggle, more fear, or more desperation. It is toward inner permission. You cannot receive what you do not allow, and you cannot allow what you do not believe is yours. Life does not withhold, life responds, and when you shift into alignment with abundance, life answers with precision. Alignment is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing thoughts that match the life you desire rather than the life you fear. It is about deciding that you are worthy of the good you seek. It is about understanding that abundance is not a reward, it is a state of being. Most people wait for conditions to change before they believe, but those who understand spiritual law believe first, and conditions change afterward. When you hold a thought that vibrates with abundance, you are not creating wealth out of nowhere. You are tuning yourself to the frequency where wealth already exists. It is as if you have been trying to hear a song on the radio, but the dial has been stuck between stations. The music is there, playing loudly, beautifully, continuously, but until you shift the dial, all you hear is static. The static in your mind, doubt, fear, unworthiness has been blocking the clarity of abundance. But the moment you turn the dial even slightly, the music comes alive. That shift, though small, changes everything. People underestimate how little the shift needs to be. They think it requires massive upheaval, dramatic change, or impossible effort. But alignment is subtle. A simple decision can be the catalyst. A simple realization can change your entire relationship with money. The thought abundance is available to me, held consistently, has more power than a lifetime of hustle without belief. When your inner attitude changes, the outer world cannot resist it. Life bends to the vibration you hold. Prosperity begins searching for you the moment you begin expecting it. There is a sacred power in expectation. Not the desperate hope that pleads, but the calm knowing that recognizes abundance as natural. Expectation is the spiritual posture of someone who understands how the universe works. When you expect wealth, you stop gripping fear. You stop choking your energy. You stop imagining worst-case scenarios. You begin to act like someone who is supported, guided, and supplied. And because your actions carry a new vibration, they attract new outcomes. The shift within becomes evidence without. You may not realize it, but you have walked through much of your life expecting lack. You have anticipated disappointment. You have imagined scarcity. You have rehearsed fear. And because your inner world creates your outer experience, these thoughts formed roots and shaped the landscape of your life. But the moment you shift your expectation from lack to abundance, the soil begins to change. The roots loosen, the old patterns dissolve. New possibilities begin growing in places you thought were barren. Abundance is not random, it is responsive. It flows to the open, to the receptive, to the confident, to the trusting. It flows to the person who knows that life is friendly and supportive. It flows to the one who releases the belief that they must earn every blessing through suffering. You were not born to struggle endlessly. There is no spiritual value in perpetual lack. The universe is rich, generous, and overflowing, and it intends for you to participate in that richness fully. When you align your thoughts with that truth, you become a vessel wide enough to receive it. Imagine holding a small cup under a waterfall. The waterfall does not change for you. It pours with the same intensity as before, but the cup determines how much you receive. If the cup is too small, shaped by fear, limitation, or doubt, you collect only a trickle. But if you replace the cup with a bowl, you receive more. Replace the bowl with a bucket, and you receive more still. Replace the bucket with an open basin, and abundance floods into your life. The waterfall is the universe. It never stops, it never slows, it never punishes, it simply flows. Your inner capacity, your alignment determines how much you can hold. This is the shift, understanding that abundance is not withheld from you. It is waiting for you to expand your ability to receive. You expand by thinking differently. You expand by feeling differently. You expand by trusting rather than fearing. You expand by believing you deserve good. The moment you release the belief that life is a battle, you stop fighting and start receiving. Money, opportunities, ideas, resources, and connections begin moving toward you because your energy is no longer blocking them. When your awareness expands, your life must follow. New doors open without effort. Solutions appear without force. People show up at the perfect time. The right opportunities seem to find you as if guided by an unseen hand, and they are. Alignment invites guidance, and guidance leads directly to abundance. You are not alone in your journey. You are supported by a universe that responds to the quality of your inner world. Change your awareness even slightly, and the entire axis of your life shifts. And when it shifts, abundance no longer feels like a fantasy. It feels natural. It feels obvious. It feels inevitable, because you finally understand that the universe was never withholding from you. It was waiting for you to align with what was always meant to be yours. There is a moment when a person finally understands that money responds not to pleading but to certainty. This is the moment when life begins to shift. For years, you may have spoken words born from fear, words like "I don't know how I will manage," or "I can't afford this," or "money is always slipping away from me." These words felt normal, even honest, because they reflected what you saw in front of you. But what is in front of you is not the cause, it is the effect. The cause is always the thought behind your words. When you change the thought, you change the vibration. When you change the vibration, you change the experience. That is why speaking words of abundance, even before you see abundance, is the most powerful choice you can make for your financial life. You do not speak prosperity because you already have it. You speak prosperity because you are creating the space for it. You do not speak confidence because everything is perfect. You speak confidence so everything can align. Words are not empty sounds. Words are commands. Words instruct the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind responds without hesitation. If you repeatedly say, "Money flows to me freely," your subconscious begins operating as if it were true. It opens your awareness, sharpens your intuition, awakens ideas, and guides you toward actions that align with the flow you are affirming. But when you say, "I never have enough," your subconscious accepts that too, and it shapes your perception to match the limitation you declare. Most people speak from their wounds, not their wisdom. They speak from memory, not possibility. They repeat thoughts taught to them by parents, society, scarcity, and fear. And because they repeat these thoughts for years, they become true in their experience. But truth is not permanent, it is shaped. Truth is created by repetition, and you have the power to choose a new truth, a higher truth, a truth aligned with abundance rather than struggle. The moment you speak a new word with conviction, you begin rewriting the script of your life. There is a spiritual boldness in someone who speaks abundance while standing in the middle of lack. That boldness is not ignorance, it is alignment. It is the recognition that what is unseen is more powerful than what is seen. When you say, "Money is coming to me in unexpected ways," even when your bank account is empty, You are not lying, you are preparing. You are setting the stage for what is already moving toward you. You are choosing vibration over circumstance, and vibration always wins, because vibration is the seed while circumstance is merely the fruit. You may not realize how deeply your words shape the energy around you. Every thought you allow becomes an invitation. Every word you speak becomes a direction. If you speak fear, you invite struggle. If you speak abundance, you invite increase. The universe responds to the tone of your consciousness, and your words reveal that tone. This is why the shift begins not with action, not with labor, not with strategy, but with speech. A person who speaks abundance creates a powerful current that begins to move through every area of their life. There is a reason some people seem to experience constant increase. It is not because they are lucky. It is because they have a habit of speaking as if good things are always on the way. They declare favor. They expect miracles, they affirm wealth, and because they do this constantly, their subconscious mind becomes a fertile field for prosperity. Their energy becomes magnetic. They walk through life with a confidence that opens doors before they even knock. They attract opportunities because their vibration signals readiness. They receive unexpected blessings because their words have prepared the space for blessings to enter. Consider how differently life feels when you start your day with a declaration such as, "Today, money finds me easily." You walk differently, you think differently, you notice possibilities you once ignored. You feel guided, supported, uplifted. That feeling is alignment, and that alignment becomes evidence. You may receive a message, a call, an idea, a chance, something that moves you into greater prosperity. And once you experience the connection between your words and your results, you never forget it. But the shift requires consistency. You cannot speak abundance once and expect a lifetime of miracles. Just as negative thoughts create negative habits over time, positive declarations create new energetic patterns when repeated with faith. Every time you affirm prosperity, you reinforce a new vibration. Every time you choose belief over fear, you strengthen the current of abundance, and as this current grows stronger, your outer world begins to rearrange itself accordingly. People may not understand how quickly your life begins to change, but you will understand because you will trace the shift back to the moment you chose new words. You do not need to see evidence before you speak it. Evidence comes after alignment. If you wait to feel wealthy before thinking wealthy thoughts, you will wait forever. But if you think wealthy thoughts first, the feeling will follow, and the evidence will follow the feeling. This is the spiritual order: thought, feeling, manifestation. People who reverse this order remain trapped in cycles of struggle because they are waiting for life to prove itself before they change their consciousness. But life reflects consciousness, not the other way around. Imagine standing before a mirror. If your reflection is frowning, you do not try to adjust the reflection. You adjust your face and the reflection changes effortlessly. Your outer world is the mirror. Your inner world is the face. Change the inner and the outer follows. Your words are the tools that reshape the inner. When you say, "Money supports me," you soften your fear. When you say, "I receive wealth with ease," you open your energy. When you say, "I am connected to infinite supply," you dissolve the belief that you are alone. And in that dissolution, abundance finds room to enter. Many people wonder why money feels heavy, stressful, inconsistent. The answer is simple. They speak about money from a place of fear. They declare their limitations. They predict their disappointments. They speak lack into existence without realizing the power of their words. But the moment they shift their speech, the heaviness begins to lift. Money becomes lighter. Opportunities become easier. Solutions become clearer. They begin to experience what happens when you speak in harmony with universal flow rather than in opposition to it. This is the heart of it. Your words create pathways. They open doors. They summon resources. They guide the unseen forces of the universe toward your life. A single declaration, spoken with faith, can redirect your financial destiny. Not because the words themselves are magic, but because they shift you, your vibration, your expectations, your energy, your openness. And when you shift, the world shifts with you. Money responds, opportunities respond, life responds, and abundance begins to flow where fear once lived. There is a profound moment in life when you finally recognize that your relationship with money is not shaped by the world outside you, but by the world within you. Most people spend their days trying to control circumstances, trying to force outcomes, trying to chase opportunities, never realizing that the true work is not outside but inside. The inner world is the blueprint. The outer world is the construction, and when the blueprint changes, the building must follow. A single money thought held with unwavering belief becomes a blueprint so strong that your reality has no choice but to rearrange itself according to it. That is the quiet yet extraordinary power within you. People often believe that change requires struggle, that success requires sacrifice, that abundance comes only to those who work the hardest, but effort without alignment is like rowing a boat against the current. No matter how intensely you row, the force you exert drains you more than it propels you. But the moment you align your thought with the current, the moment you affirm your worth, your abundance, your divine right to prosperity, the entire river begins carrying you forward. Alignment is not about doing more, it is about thinking differently, and the one thought that has the power to change everything is simply this: I am already connected to all the wealth I desire. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual truth. Everything you desire exists in the unseen before it exists in the physical. Money, opportunities, relationships, ideas, they begin as energy, as possibility, as vibrance.